Greetings and welcome back to another round of audio shenanigans. We are Controllers and Couches.
I'm Stephfafahh.
And I am FullMetalChicken. And welcome back for our 45th episode of Controllers and Couches. We just kind of...
Hello everyone.
Yes,
Welcome back to another episode. Hope you're all doing well amongst the crazy. As always, I'd like to say at the beginning, if there's a specific segment you're after, please refer to our description for the time points. If there's other stuff you want to skip ahead on. So, continue.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's like, we hit 600, and then it kept going. No, like KG, ping-wise. I was on World of Tanks, and literally 600. We hit 600 milliseconds of lag for a good, I'd say, hour and a half. I can't wait till NBN is on tomorrow.
Do you want to tell the story?
So,
start from once upon a time, not long ago.
Once upon a time, we were getting NBN.
This journey starts way back in 2015. We were first contacted by our line provider, being Telstra, saying, in May of 2016, you're going to have NBN. We're going to need you to be home every day for a week because a technician will be coming fitting out people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point in time, we weren't all going to be home at the same time, but we had the ability to have someone home during specific points. And it was one of those things where they said it was going to be a 24-hour thing because it was a lot of houses that they had to fit out in our area. And then so 2016 rings in. January, February, March, April, nothing happens. May, we check the rollout map and it's delayed to June, July. And we think, okay, June, July happens, nothing, it gets delayed another year. And then so on and so forth. That happens until we get a letter from our internet provider, TPG. And they say that we can pre-order, and we're checking like every couple of months to see when we could get it because we only get 0.5 meg per second. And that's okay if you're replying to an email, but if you have like a lot of shit you have to access online from online servers where your university will kick you off the server because your latency is too high, it times out. It's a lot. For online gaming, it's a lot.
And see, the amount of packet loss and rubber banding we get is ridiculous. And we were trying to...
Obviously, there are bigger problems in the world than our internet.
Yeah.
But we're just saying, in terms of what we were being asked to pay for and what we were offered, and I don't want to call it lies, but it just happens, Australia was not ready to roll out anything of this magnitude. And by the time they even considered starting, the technology had already evolved to support a speed 1,000 times greater than what we could potentially be getting tomorrow. So in February, TPG sent us a letter and they said that we had to pre-order our connection, and that meant that they were charging us, I think, like 3-4 months in advance for our first month, and they were also going to charge us an admin fee for $100 just to send us our modem and our connection device. And even if you have your own modem router, you still have to use theirs because the only way to get it, the connection device, is what you need to bridge between the phone line and your modem. Is the only way to pay. The only way to get that is to pay $99 because it's technically federal property.
Yeah. So, long story short, what's happened?
We did that. We waited 2 months.
Yep.
We were supposed to get it on, my calculations are right, last Friday.
Yeah.
The 15th of May.
Last Friday. And essentially...
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. And then we received the kit on Monday.
Well, actually, you've received the email notification text that our device, connected device, and our modem were dispatched. And then we thought, oh, shit, okay. And then we scrambled and we realised that on the other side of the fence is where our connection is. And we just can't get it to the house. So everything we had been told up until that point was a lie.
Yeah.
Because we were told that someone would actually have to come into the house and outfit us and put a new line in. But that all changed because the system that we were going to get to speed things up became a different one. So I'm not going to say what we are, but we're one of the shittier ones, but that's okay. We don't live in like South Morang. South Morang was nice. You were optic all the way.
Yep.
But that's different. So we're still technically utilising our copper line for the portion of the house as soon as it leaves the curb. And so our internet connection is technically, we thought it was there. It's there, but it's not. We didn't know until the next day. So we set it up all on Monday. We're literally living at the windows, making sure that the guy is coming to our house. It took 10 minutes to find our package in his Star Trek truck. He came to our house. He tossed it over to you. I ripped up that box and we actually videographed it. We recorded it because I was like, this is such a big moment in our lives. This is going to be fantastic. And then we plug everything in, and I kind of knew what plug went where because it was self-explanatory, but then I'm a panicky kind of person, so we were quite stressed about it. And then you have to leave it there for 30 minutes plugged in minimum for the system to configure itself. So to kind of have a feed forward and for TPG to be like, oh, so something's recognising the signal, it's switched on now, and for someone on their end to essentially manually accept the connection. Because it can technically all be done digitally. Or so we thought.
So we ended up ringing up. And
after 2.5 hours.
After 2.5 hours. And basically they say there's nothing they can do. We'll send
Well, first they said that we needed to switch everything on and off again. And then they proceeded to tell us that something must be wrong with the copper wiring. And then I got pretty shitty because I said, well, that's fascinating because I still have ADSL. So how can the copper lining work and not work at the same time? And then they've gone, oh, that's probably why. Because, and I'm like, no, they're two separate cords. If you knew your system, you'd understand that. So on and so forth. And then they were like, well, you were on the phone.
Yeah.
And then you got put forward to the case manager, and everything was we'll call you back in 15 minutes, 40 minutes later. Oh, it'll be 10 minutes, 30 minutes later. And then you got put on a case manager, and the case manager sat down and you explained everything. And then she was like, your distribution point unit isn't registering anything. I don't actually think you're connected.
Yeah, so
no
essentially
one's plugged you in.
The copper line is there, the NBN is there, but it ain't connected.
Either the unit is not there, or they didn't plug us into the unit.
I'm thinking where the node is, the actual DPU is there.
The DPU is literally just on the other side of that fence because we plug into our neighbours.
Yeah. So,
and then they run up the street to the... She's Serbian, isn't she, at the end of the street? Lovely lady. Yeah. And they terrorised her garden and her house.
They destroyed it.
For 2 days. And they completely totaled everything. They busted her fence. She was so upset, and rightfully so. She had no warning it was going to happen. At 4:30 one morning, they just rocked up with lights, amber lights, and started digging and setting up the pit. So we're connected at the front of our house to a next door neighbour.
Yeah. But
that all runs to her because she is the node.
Yeah, the main node. So essentially there's a box in that little...
Yeah. Similar to like your Telstra pit.
Yeah,
where everyone connects at the front of the house.
Where the pit is, the DPU sitting in that.
Yeah.
So it's more a case of they probably got the box.
It looks like a VCR player where you plug in the analog. You know how you have the wall, the satellite, not the satellite, but your radio tower. What do they call it? You don't need them anymore because it's digital TV. But you know how people have the. You know what I mean? It's not a satellite. It's the thing on top of the house that they put before digital TV was the radio thing, Michael. Aerial antenna, that's it. That's what it is. That's what the cord looks like. And they plug it into a mini black VCR. It has NBN stamped on it, and that's all they need to do.
Yeah, and it just sits there and it looks like a big ass water bottle. That's the shape of it. And it's just sitting in this box. That's all it's doing.
So theoretically, I'm not saying I'd do it. I'm saying I was tempted for a quarter of a second. We watched some set up YouTube videos, but you can't tamper with it because it's federal property.
It is. So if you get busted mucking around,
there's federal prison centres.
You get fined and shit. So essentially, it's a case of.
So we accepted that.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, fine. And then every day, every 12 hours since Monday, someone will call, someone will text, someone will email, someone will say, oh, we're going to try and connect you remotely.
But honestly, you know, you're trying to drive the car, but the battery isn't connected.
Essentially, yeah.
You know.
And then so we thought, okay, it won't be the biggest problem in the world. We're just going to continue living the way we were. They're not going to charge us until technically we configure the connection, because that's when it switches on from our end. So whatever. And then we got smashed with a 30 gigabyte Call of Duty Modern Warfare update.
Yep.
Which took over 20 hours to install. My friend who lives, I think, less than a 10-minute drive away from us. I think we live in a straight line, if that makes sense. But obviously, the way the blocks work, and she's like on the other side, like a suburb and a half away. He is a suburb and a half away with his partner. And so they get it. And when shit happens, like, we will get a brownout, but their power goes off. Right?
Yeah.
They have the best internet connection. You know why? Because everyone in their area is already connected to NBN. So they're in a pocket where it's not.
Yeah.
So we realised yesterday morning we started getting speeds we had never seen before.
Yeah,
we started getting 10 meg per second. And it only happened for 2 hours. And so we were like, shit, that means everyone else on the street in the area is getting connected to NBN.
Yeah.
And now we're getting the speeds we've been paying for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah. So it's like, yay.
And so they downloaded it within 3 hours and were able to play it. And we're just dying.
Yeah,
crying.
Literally. It's bullshit. Complete bullshit.
But anyway, apparently aisle 9 is up. Hard Hat has returned. They updated the Gulag weapons. And apparently there's a Ghost Pack contingency operator bundle or something or other. And then Charlie Intel came out and said that some guy who had leaked stuff in the past and had been right, especially about like the Warzone thing, he'd come out and he had said that, I think his name's Akami, and he said that the new the Call of Duty that gets released this year is going to be called Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Knew it.
Activision themselves haven't even... Activision and Treyarch haven't even come out and said that they're releasing this year's game.
Yeah.
Because it used to be Activision Treyarch, and then it would be Activision Treyarch Sledgehammer Games. And then I think Sledgehammer Games did 1 or 2 releases, and then they bailed.
And you know why this is? Because everyone's in quarantine at the moment, staying home. This Call of Duty release, this Modern Warfare, is making bank for them. So they're not going to rush it out of sales. They're going to literally keep...
Imagine if they delayed it because they've put so much into...
Yeah, they have.
Warzone.
Honestly...
Every update, it's not because of the Season Pass.
No.
It's not because of the new... not Season Pass, Battle Pass, I should say. It's not because of the new Operator Pack. It's because they keep adding shit to Warzone.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I play it if one of our other friends wants to play it. But I've never been like... Oh, I tried once or twice because I wanted to unlock the skin for Rodion.
Yeah.
And that fucking glitched out. And I tried it now doing that, and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this. I play Plunder with them, but I would never play Warzone on my own.
No, it's shit. Like, honestly, playing it, the latency is so high that you cannot do anything.
Do you want to talk about that? Because our friend sent me that Reddit link. But did you want to talk about that while you brought it up?
You can.
So, essentially, they have unofficially tampered with the latency for everyone, and they're patching it out. So someone has actually sat down and for every single so for their piece, so they have it on either they or their friends on this in the same house have different, whether it be consoles or ways to play Call of Duty. So they have a PC, they have an Xbox One, and they have a PS4. And so what they've done is for every single patch they have measured their latency in game, and they've recorded that. And so what they've realised is that Activision is tampering with people's pings.
Yeah.
And so I noticed this the most not last week's... Was it last week's patch or the patch before?
Patch.
And so I was playing... It was the first time in like 2 or 3 days. And I'm like... I actually thought I had stuffed with a setting. And I remember saying to you, like, I was sitting there like, something doesn't feel right. And you're like, what do you mean? I'm like, my vibrator's on. My aim, you know how you go up, your horizontal, your vertical?
Yep.
My axes, they were the settings that I've had since I started playing.
Yep.
So they were right. And I'm like, oh shit, maybe I pressed something when I was reaching over for a bottle of water or whatever. Nothing like that was different. There's different aim assist categories. Mine was still exactly the same. It hadn't been changed. But I felt like something was off. And then my friend sent me this thing that someone had posted on Reddit, and I'm like, shit, it all makes sense. It's not just me. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought I had done something different. And he was like, no, I told you. And apparently, he also sent me the patch notes, and he highlighted one thing, and it's like, we fixed the occasional glitch where an operator may not be seen in the walk-up. And I joked, and I'm like, oh, really? Maybe that's why I've been sucking at this game so much when I play with you guys. I thought it was a concrete game. I thought I was the concrete.
It's just
because all I see is concrete.
And it's literally like when you're playing Shoot House, for instance, and you literally spawn facing wall corners, and it's just stupid because otherwise you'll spawn facing a wall corner, or you'll just spawn facing a wall, or you will literally spawn in front of an enemy and they're facing. And it's like it's stupid because, especially once you go into Warzone, you start getting high latency. You will literally, like as we mentioned months ago,
more amplified because there are so many people playing Warzone at once that the server can't handle 5 people on 2 sides, let alone how many people playing Warzone? 150? They can facilitate 150 people in one round.
And a classic example, sniper rifles are one-hit kill weapons. So, for instance, we literally tested it out. We camped on a building.
And I got hit markers on a headshot.
Literally, you unloaded 2 full clips of a sniper rifle into one guy camping, and he turned around and shot you.
With an LMG.
With an LMG, one hit. One hit with an LMG. One hit.
I don't know.
And you just go, there's no point. Like, there's no point. And even, like, for instance, this is why at the moment, I've had a few people message me and say, look, I'm shit. Oh, yeah, you just play shipment. We see you on shipment. You're shit. That's not a real play.
Child.
And you go, when you've got latency of anywhere between 100 to 400 milliseconds, there's no point playing tactically because, you're running around and you're not hitting anything. So where I perceive them, they're not there.
The tactics of Warzone, I'm sorry, the only way to really play Warzone, I reckon, is if you're on a US server.
Yeah.
Because I watch some people on Twitch, because I haven't been playing the last week. I think I played the other day for you, maybe 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, just...
Because I was like, hey, I don't want to play, but...
And you wanted to have a go at that LMG.
Yeah. And you were like, I'm having this issue... I want, like, what class do you set up? And I said, oh, look, I'll run and gun with, because I have on mine. It's my MP7 Obsidian. It's the one I like to, scream at all the screamers at when they're like, oh my God, you don't know how to play. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Is my Obsidian shining a little too bright like a diamond for you, sweetheart? Maybe you should pack your bag and get ready for school tomorrow morning. And then they're like, oh my God, a girl. Are you on OnlyFans? So I have a friend who actually has an OnlyFans. So from now on, I'm going to promote her OnlyFans and say it's me.
Do it.
She's going to get paid regardless. I don't get anything from it, and I'm not looking to get anything from it. But still, if someone's, at least someone will make some financial gain. So every week, if there's someone who you like on OnlyFans and you want to promote them, or you are an OnlyFans person, go to my Instagram or email us your OnlyFans, and every week I'm going to rotate who I promote.
Done.
Because seriously, every night 15 people minimum ask me.
It's bullshit.
As soon as they find out I'm a girl.
It's just ridiculous.
So I'm here to support small businesses.
I'm here to support small businesses, yes.
Oh, it's terrible.
It is.
I understand it, but I also... And they've essentially, I reckon, cemented the fact that they want you to delete every other game on whatever it is you're playing, whatever your console or setup, and just have theirs.
Yep.
Because there's no need for a 30 gig patch in the middle of a week.
No. There's no point. I don't know why they do it.
And they're like, oh, in the Northern Hemisphere, everyone's like, oh, it's so late. Bitch, we just came home from work. We just signed off and wanted to sign in and play with our friends.
And we can't.
Our evening just started at 4 p.m. Our afternoon just kicked over at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Right? I've been working on my thesis since 7 a.m. I want to play now with my friends. Everyone's getting off.
And you can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. We kicked you for a transmission error. Can't connect to server. Can't connect to server. Okay. Close the app, doesn't work. Restart your Xbox. Oh, that's why there's a 30 gig patch. And then so I text my friend and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'll see you in 2 days.
Yeah.
When
and
it
it's like
finishes
we can't
updating.
even connect to, two people playing in the same house on the same game. It is that bad.
We can play separate lobbies. But we can't play the same lobby.
Which is absolute bullshit.
You'd think it would be the same lobby would work, not separate ones. Don't ask me how that works.
Bungie had this down pat. We never had this issue with Halo 1 or Halo 2. Ever. You could, this is playing literally, over extremely shit internet connects. And just, it's crazy. Gaming is going to get to a point where it's so immersive.
To put it in perspective, Jev last week bitched, and rightly so, because he's in the US, he bitched about his 15 millisecond ping when he said he should only have 4.
Yeah.
Right? When we first connect to a server, we have 42.
Minimum.
And then instead of scoring like it normally does, and it goes 128, 200, we go straight to 420.
420, done.
Or 480, whatever.
We blaze it literally.
And you just go, oh my god, our Jap Maple at the front has dropped almost all of its leaves. It's got 3 left.
Yes.
And I just realised there's less than... Oh my god, 10 days left of autumn.
Yep, and then...
It went by so fast.
And then winter kicks in. But seriously, 42 milliseconds
He was scared, upset about his 14, 15 ping. And I'm like, child, think about the rest of us.
So I think...
Think about us poor Australians.
So I think that once our internet settles out...
I've decided on a Twitch stream.
Once we start getting 40 megabit per second instead of 2... You
know what? If we get close to what they promise us being up to 45, if it is that good, and if it is worthwhile, I would consider going to 100.
Yeah.
I would consider it.
But we just need to see how it actually goes first time round.
Oh no, of course. You do 2, 3, 4 months, and then you figure it out.
But yeah, you would be hosting most of the time.
We're talking some MLG internet.
Yeah. Yeah, you would. You'd be running MLG big time.
So yeah, if anyone would be interested in us doing a Twitch stream, please let us know. I'm thinking that realistically, you can't, there'd be some times where you could do it every night. But I'm sorry, my job as a research student doesn't let me do that all the time. So theoretically, I'd do it minimum 2-3 times a week. Other weeks when I don't have much on, I'd do more.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it for financial gain just because I like playing video games. So it wouldn't always be Call of Duty though. I'd do some point and clicks and stuff. So we'll just suss it out.
Yeah.
We've got to organise a setup now.
Yeah. Which should be interesting. Hardcore gaming setup.
Oh yeah. Totes. Alright. Quizzy time? Unless you got anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's
Smash Activision. I haven't checked the forums in the last 2 days. Let's have a look. Alright, let's do the quiz while I have a look, shall we? Alright, so today. Why did I choose this one?
This colourful quiz will reveal which random living room object you truly embody.
I think we can all agree we all either live in our bedrooms at the moment or our living rooms. And the first question had the colour red. It was about the colour red. And I was like, you know what? I'm living in my living room. Why not?
No, my luck, I'll probably be a couch.
I would like to be either the bookshelf or the television.
Yeah, knowing me, I'll be a couch.
Couches are comfy.
Yeah, couches are comfy.
No one's having a go.
Okay.
Alright. As always, link in the description.
Yep.
Pick a red photo. It looks like a wall with some mist and it says love is a drug because it's one of those neon lights. Then there's some autumn leaves, which I guess you can guess which one I'm going for.
Yep.
Then it's a woman in, I would say that's an orange background in a reddish shirt. Or, that looks like a fan, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like a Jap fan. The handheld ones?
Yes.
So I'm going to go for the leaves. What are you going for?
I'm going for leaves.
Okay, cool.
And how about orange. So there's a woman in red knit sweater holding lemon.
Oranges.
Yeah.
Please tell me they're oranges and these people
The
don't
two
know they're
oranges.
citrus.
Then you've got a minimalist photography of orange wall. Well, it looks like striped orange things. Then you've got brown and white brick wall. Okay. And then you've got just like a swirly orangey thing. I'm going the swirly orangey thing.
Same, actually. I'm tempted to go the brick wall, but I like the swirls.
Then we've got pick a yellow. There's a yellow surface with 2 grey pencils. We have a row between trees, yellow
but that's
leaves.
mustard.
Yeah, definitely mustard. Then we've got a bunch of yellow chrysanthemum flowers, and we've got a yellow bird sitting on like a cage or something. I like the street.
The street with the leaves and the lights.
Yep.
Pick a green photo. It looks like a frond, like a flower bud frond. Foliage of like ferns. The mountains. Grassland. That looks like something you'd find in Pacific Northwest or New Zealand. That's not a chameleon, is it? That's a horned.
That's a horned chameleon.
On a branch. I'm gonna go for the mountains.
Yeah, I'm going the ferns. The fern plant.
Ooh, finally we diverge.
Yeah. And now we've got, how about a blue one? So we've got a macro photography of blue flowers. We've got
there are no flowers that are blue. Those are leaves with the blue filter, but that's a separate story.
Low angle photo of curtain wall building. Blue smoke on white background, and we've got some close up of blue body of water. So I like the blue smoke on the white background. So I'm going that one.
I'm gonna go for the body of water with the ripples.
Sweet. Then we've got
pick a teal picture. Echeveria that are budding. So it's like a succulent. It looks like an aloe vera, but it's different.
Yeah.
It looks like a beach with surfers in it or fish in the sea. Then it looks like the silhouette of a mountain range, and then it looks like a laser light show at a museum, like an art setup. I'm going to choose Echeveria.
Yeah, me too. Pick a purple. So we have landscape photography of mountains. They're really cranking out these filters, aren't they? Purple and black pyramid wallpaper. Then we've got tilt shift lens pink fetal flowers. Pink petal. Right.
That looks like lavender.
Yeah.
I'm choosing the lavender.
Person sitting on black surface looking to sky. That looks nice. So I went that one. Yep.
Now pink. Pink vibes on a pink wall. Like a city morning sunrise or sunset, I guess you could say. That looks very pink. A pink flamingo concrete wall, or a white pink table with a cup of tea in some slightly dusted pink china. I'm gonna go for the cityscape in pink.
Yeah, I went to skyscraper. Then we got white. White concrete building during daytime. White cherry blossoms under white sky at daytime. Then we've got white concrete building. Then we've got person wearing a pair of cream white Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 shoes. So I just went the cherry blossoms.
I'm going cherry blossoms too. We ain't here to stand the Yeezy.
Nope. Then choose a brown one. You have macro photography of 3 assorted liquids. You have brown mountain covered by melting
coffee.
snow.
It's 3 coffees. Black coffee, coffee latte, and cappuccino and a latte.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Then you've got some leaves on the ground.
Autumn
leaves. And a seashore. So I went the brown mountain covered by melting snow.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Then pick a black photo. We've got a left person's palm in the dark. Then we've got a macro photography of black cat.
That's my son. That's my cat Mozzie.
Grayscale photo of stone. And then this is the Department of Water and Power building in downtown Los Angeles, John Ferrari building. Okay, that was quite...
I'm going for the Mozzie moto.
Yep. Yum. Lastly, pick a rainbow picture. So you've got assorted colour smoke. Then you've got multicoloured abstract painting. Then you've got a
ton of umbrellas in the sky.
And then a sunflower that has been multicoloured, which looked cool on the white background. So I went that one.
I'm going to go for the assorted multicolour smoke.
Woo!
What did you get?
I got couch.
Oh!
You've got to be a couch. To put it simply, you're chill as heck. You're the kind of person who doesn't have to try hard to impress people or win people over. You're someone others naturally gravitate towards and want to get to know better. Honestly, you're someone we all wish could be. Okay, rightio.
I'm the TV. As guest, you're totally a TV. You're a constant source of joy and entertainment for the people in your life. You're someone people turn to when they forget about their problems for a little bit, because you're all about having a good time. As Kesha once sang, the party don't start till you walk in. So I'm on the Modern Warfare subreddit. Woo! You'll be glad to know that there's lots of fangirling about the new Ghost Operator pack.
Yep.
There's a meme that says the Modern Warfare 2019 patch cycle, adding a new weapon, nerfing the OP weapon from the last update. Apparently there's this new bug when you play Warzone in the Tavorsk district. Apparently you can make yourself throw knives and shoot through people. If you're standing in the building, you can shoot out.
Yep.
Not that I'm supporting that. I'm saying, they have to patch that. Looks like some of the Americans are actually getting the connection failed issue that we've been having for the past 3 months.
Finally.
So maybe now that the Americans are suffering through that will get patched out.
Yeah.
Someone saying that they found, a stranger option has said that they found a way to delete data packs to save your hard drive. I don't think that you should be doing that, because no. People are fangirling over the new disembodiment weapons. The ones you have to buy the opera. Do you end up buying that?
Yes.
Would you recommend?
It's cool for sniper rifles, and if you get someone in the head, it's gone.
Is it all weapons or select few?
Select weapons, but you can blueprint them.
And when I made you my setup, you said it was better than any blueprint you had ever seen on the MP7. So I am the blueprint.
For that one, yeah.
For that one, not the others.
No, because I've messed around with some really...
The community after Infinity War releases yet another 30 gig update. I used to think I was being neglected, but now I see that you are intentionally screwing me.
Yeah, literally.
Activision is actively activating and investigating an issue where some players are unable to connect to online services. We're to be stayed tuned for updates. What else is there? Apparently there's a lot of memes about, them over promoting Ghost. There's a photo that they've uploaded. User 9822888623. Their ping has gone to over 5,000 milliseconds. That's the photo.
Yeah.
He's just taken a screenshot of either his PS4 or his Xbox. Another American, Only Warrior, says he has 30 meg, so he's got 30 ping, 500 megabit per second wired internet, and Activision servers made of popsicles of hot glue. So how do you even get 500 meg per second? The most you can get in Australia is 100, and they don't even guarantee that.
Yeah. But here's the thing. If you're running 500 megabit per second...
Do you see colours? What is that like? What's it like when you drag an attachment to an email and it's there?
It's just...
What's it like when you stream something? Is it a different... What does your 8HD, Ultra HD television look like when you're streaming something?
Very, very smooth.
When you watch people on Twitch, do your ads buffer so fast they don't exist?
But see, here's the thing. If we were to try and stream...
now?
Nothing.
No.
Our connection is being throttled.
No. Your brother Rob tried to stream from here once, and I watched it from my data because it would have been too much for our internet to handle, and that was the most appalling, abysmal thing I had ever seen.
Just nightmarish.
3/4 of his stream was the purple loading, connecting to stream, connecting to stream, connecting to stream.
Just a joke.
His stream was being uploaded, I suppose, for lack of a better term. Anyway, sorry. I guess we should continue this. Where else was I going with this? We haven't watched anything new recently this week, have we?
No, I've just been...
We have some thoughts about the new Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's
a little too methamphetamine, marijuana induced for me.
It's getting a little... Are they running out of ideas, or are they just listening to all the feedback they're getting?
Not last week's episode, the episode before, the train one.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, you have to support capitalism, small businesses, coronavirus. And then I was like, shit.
Yeah.
That 30-minute bullshit was worth that last 40-second ending.
Yeah.
Everything else I don't support.
You know what I'm actually thinking of doing? I'm actually considering, after playing this modern, as soon as I get to, 155...
Oh, you still got... How's that going for you? Can't relate.
I know. I'm thinking of going back to...
I got your battle pass maxed out for you, though, in 1 hour of playing. I got you 3 tears and you nearly cried on the couch.
I was like, God damn it. So now
You sat there in awe.
Yeah.
As if I was some archangel sent from the heavens to teach you how to play Call of Duty. So, and then you played my MP7 class and you were like, I see how you handle things.
So I'm thinking of actually going back to World War II and playing that. Just playing Shipment. I like World War II. I'm actually thinking of going back to it.
I don't know if anyone else is playing it. Good luck getting a server, because everyone's on Warzone, apparently.
Yeah.
According to them, 60 million users.
Wow.
Weekly news. There's a big bust-up between Beijing and Canberra about Australia calling an inquiry as to how coronavirus got so bad.
Essentially what they want to do now is ban the export, China,
they refuse
Beijing,
to take our beef,
our barley,
and our barley.
They want to impose an 80% tariff
for anything that we want from them.
Yeah.
They're one of our biggest trade partners.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It's not going to affect the baby formula because they need the baby formula. That was the media release. That's not my opinion. That's
fact.
That's fact. That's so. Just in case people get a little bit unhappy with that comment, that's actually come from the Australian government. I'm just repeating verbatim.
It sucks that their own government can't ensure that they have a supply of that stuff. I'm saying how dare they buy from us. What I'm saying is that they know that their own people need that. Why wouldn't you make that at home?
Yeah. That's just...
Why wouldn't it be a home export? You know what I mean?
It's just stupid.
Or is China just so large now that they don't have the land to support having that many cows?
I don't know. It's all stupid. And it's going to be...
There's an Ozpost truck at the side of our house and I need to know if it's here to deliver me a package, but I don't think it is.
No, don't think it is.
Oh,
Devastated.
No, it's for
the neighbours
next door. Damn it.
Yay.
Sadness, summertime sadness. So anyway, I think that this is necessary. Apparently 50 nations have backed us.
Yep.
Australia is the chewing gum underneath the foot of Beijing. We're here for a good time, not a bad time.
Yep.
And someone needs to be held accountable.
Yeah.
And they can't be doing too well because apparently they're reclosing all their gyms and cinemas. What is that? You can't fudge your daughters anymore, huh? Because there's an inquiry. Your father's facing an inquiry at work and it is entirely your fault. If you put another toe out of line, you'll be coming straight home. And Junior, dear, congratulations on being assigned to Gryffindor. Your father and I are so proud.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, they're relocking down things after they...
Second wave.
Talking about second wave, apparently Ruby Rose decided that she no longer wanted to be Batwoman.
Oh, really? Because she doesn't want to be a sidekick to Batman?
No, apparently she had to deal with a lot of long working hours, and because she didn't want to do that, that led to a lot of friction on the set. So Warner Brothers Television, who own the CW, like everything such as Green Arrow, Vampire Diaries, they used to be Warner Brothers, and then they became CW, and they air like Supernatural and all those cool sci-fi shows that everyone knows and loves. Roswell, New Mexico, the original, not the remake, that I still need to find and watch. They were all from that channel. Yeah. And so she's decided that that's not...
But see, here's the thing. Long working hours. Now, I know that the media industry, like movies and stuff, Hollywood is pretty tough. Like, there's people who are working really shit hours. But at the end of the day, some of these actors are earning millions. So, also too, to be in either the Marvel or the DC franchise, you will be remembered for playing a role in those two franchises. Now, there are people who would literally break down buildings to get into that particular role.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but what characters has she played in the past? She was a sidekick in a John Wick movie, which would have taken less than 2 days worth of filming.
Yeah.
Right? She was in Orange is the New Black in two of the seasons. And again, what was that? 2-3 weeks worth of filming on and off for her?
Yep.
She was in the Triple X Xander Returns, or whatever it's called,
I haven't
movie.
watched it yet.
Didn't they say that only took like a month and a half to do, because the majority of it for them is CGI and the video graphics behind all of that. So she's not used to a TV show where you literally film for 9 months straight, you get a month and a half off, and then you need to start getting ready for the next season.
Yeah.
She's used to supporting roles and to guest star roles. That's no disrespect to her. I think she started out being something completely different. Wasn't she like discovered as a model, and then she somehow got an MTV disc jockey role, and then she became really popular, and she had some high profile relationships. And then that caused her to become, and rightly so, the androgynous icon that she is, and everyone should support people for who they really are. And then she was it Orange is the New Black or something? Apparently in America they love her. And so I've never watched Orange is the New Black, but apparently they have that kind of cast where it's very I'm trying to say it correctly, LGBTIQ plus kind of cast or characters that they portray, and so they wanted her in there. She was in John Wick, Pendulum. What else has she been in? Like,
she's been in a decent amount. So she's been in obviously John Wick, Pitch Perfect 3, The Meg.
That's right, she was in The Meg.
Sheep and Wolves, Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, Break Free, Around the Block. She was originally in MTV as herself. She was a host. Lots of MTV, Logies, blah, blah, blah. Batwoman, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Arrow, The Flash.
I lost a little bit of respect for her when I found out that Rose is, as in the Australian boxer, Rose, who is her godfather.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it's her dad or her mother who were friends with him. And when she wanted to be famous, she knew that she could only, she wanted to have a popular name behind her.
Yeah.
And she chose her godfather's name, and he has since passed away, and her family were they weren't actually that close. She's capitalizing on my father's name to further her career.
Now, there's an interesting thing about this. She actually, a friend of mine who was actually training me in boxing and stuff years ago, his family own a boxing gym, and she actually trained at that gym for a charity boxing match.
She does. She's a what's a word? A philanthropist.
Yes.
Right. But she's very calculating, and it could all add up to nothing. But a lot of the people that end up leaving or breaking up relationships with her say she's very calculating.
Yeah.
Say that she wants, for example, she dated, I can't remember which Veronica's sister, but she dated one, and she made up such vicious, slanderous lies about, so they were in an on-off relationship for a while, then she ended up going with someone else, and then they broke up, and then she went back with the sister, and then I can't remember if they got engaged too or something or other, but she made up mad shit about her sister, her twin sister, right? They came out of the womb together. They're closer than, most people have a relationship with anyone in their lives, right?
Yeah.
You can't fuck with a sibling, let alone a twin, right? You can't do that.
Yeah.
And then so she made up mad shit, and she was saying that, she said that, all gay people, this is me paraphrasing, but she said something along the lines of, all gay people would go to hell, they're revolting, so on and so forth. And it's like, how could you lie about that shit? And then that damaged her sister, like, that put a lot of shit and strain on their family and stuff like that. And you just go, so she has this track record of... And I'm not saying that, yes, she has her mental health. Everyone has, to some degree, an issue with mental health, right?
Yep.
Yes, she has been in and out of hospital before. Not to shame people, but it's obvious on her body, if you look at past photos of her, that she did self-harm and things. And that's not something to laugh about. That is obviously something serious. I hope that she, what's the word I'm looking for? That... she makes it through and she doesn't have to, I don't want to say resort to it, but she doesn't have to do that anymore.
No.
Right? You don't want anyone to have to deal with that. So I know she has her mental health struggles. I can't remember if she was regularly hospitalised or something like that, but she plays it out so much and she talks mad shit about everyone else. And you can't get into a series like this. And then I think have they even recorded season 2?
I don't know. I haven't been watching it.
I haven't watched it either, but I can't remember.
I know she's actually coming out in a movie called SAS Red Notice. It's essentially, action thriller by Magnus Martens.
I hope you press pause.
Sorry about that, everyone. Dust.
Wash your hands. Don't wipe it on your pants.
Dust.
Corona time. It's Corona time. She was just in season 1. I don't even think they announced season 2, but I don't think it's been recorded.
So nothing.
On 12th of March 2020, Warner Brothers Television shut down the production on the series due to the pandemic. They had one additional day of shooting episode 20, but they couldn't carry through with that because of the shutdown. And so the last episode should have aired on May 17th. And it aired to 0.74 million people. It's not a big show. Like, the first episode only saw 1.86 million US viewers. And in October too.
There you go.
So it's not no disrespect to her, but she wasn't pulling many views compared to other things she's starting.
Yeah. So it's just...
So the show will continue.
It will, oh yeah.
I hope they give it to someone and it makes them a breakout star like Vampire Diaries did to Nina Dobrev and the other cast of actors she played with. But what do you do?
Because apparently, like, in 2019, there was something where she had to have a, back surgery or something.
Yeah. So. She's had a lot of... health things, to be honest.
One thing I found out, but maybe we'll save this for another podcast because it's interesting.
Just say
it was just something about Andre the Giant and the Princess Bride. Essentially,
that's a very weird crossover, but whatever.
Back injury, because Andre the Giant basically really
was a very, very huge man.
Very huge man, very well known for his wrestling and everything.
Yes.
So essentially, what I found out was on the actual script. In the actual movie, the way they filmed it, there's points where actors are climbing on his back and everything.
And they busted his back.
But they're not actually climbing on his back. The way they did it, they set up all these different levels. So the actors were just walking next to him or standing next to him. They weren't actually on him or anything.
And they just put their arms over him to make it look
like... they filmed it that way, and because obviously having the back injury and everything. And because
we support people who support OSHA.
Yeah, so essentially he was basically the sweetest guy on set. Like, he was... just so friendly to everyone, and it was just like that back injury that kind of linked that one. So in case people were wondering about that, but it's just interesting how he would just because obviously his primary language is French, So he couldn't actually read the script. So what they actually did was the director recorded all his lines, and he listened to his lines and learnt it that way. And because of, you know, his physical prowess, sort of, you know, in the ring with the wrestling, he wasn't a trained actor. And they were actually saying that he just did everything so naturally and didn't really need any physical direction with his, you know, role, you know, points, I guess. But it was just interesting to see how they really looked after him, and just a real gentle giant. But it's amazing how debilitating a back injury can be.
I'm like looking for... what's his name, the new guy? He's not new, he's been in WWE for a while, I can't remember. But he looks like Andre the Giant, but he's slightly a thinner build. The Great Khali,
Yeah,
that's
the Great
it.
Khali. Yeah.
And he used to have Punjabi, I think, in lettering on one of his legs.
Yep. So, yeah, back injuries really wreck things.
Yeah.
So.
He passed away, unfortunately, of congestive heart failure, I think.
Yeah, poor Andre. So, yeah.
I think I had one more thing on the docket. Oh, yeah. We were talking about Fire Festival.
Yeah.
Because we were looking at H3 podcast, and who was it? What's the guy from the something Seconds to Mars?
30 Seconds to Mars.
What's his name? He thought he played the Joker.
Yeah.
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
And he has some sort of like cult thing, and they're going to be the next Fire Festival.
Yeah.
Apparently Kylie Jenner has been ordered to pay back $136,000 American dollars in the Fire Festival lawsuit, because remember how she was paid to promote the festival?
Yep.
So she has since settled it, and this dates back to 2017, so this is a while ago. She obviously promoted it in a since deleted Instagram post. She was sued in August of 2019 by the US bankruptcy court in New York because some guy called Gregory Messer was trying to recover funds for creditors that lost money. He claimed that she was allegedly paid $418,000 to post her post, essentially, and you know, she has millions of people, and she, along with other people, made it sound like the whole event would be filled with, like, was this majestic Shangri-La with supermodels, you know, lounging on the beach with common man.
Yep.
And so on and so forth. And she didn't... This was back before Instagram made it obvious that something was a paid advertisement or was a paid ad. And so she didn't say anywhere #ad, #spawn. And so, yeah, she didn't tell her followers, and so on and so forth. So what do you do?
Oh, jeez.
What do you do? What do you do?
He's going to fail big time.
They should have gotten their money back. I wonder if that guy's still going with his next... Wasn't he, like, trying to make a ticketing... He was trying to racketeer ticketing or something, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like a seat for shows and concerts and sporting events and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I haven't followed that in a while.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I actually want to cover Fire Festival, but it's like, you know, how much do you unpack it? That's the thing. Because apparently it goes back. All right. Is there anything else you want to cover today?
No. All good.
Before we get into it. All right. So today, I'm sorry. I know you don't like the graphic-y true crime stuff, so I have watered it down as much as possible.
All good.
All right. Today we are unfortunately going to look. Before we get into today's topic, this episode is not meant to minimise the pain, grief or loss that followed the events that we will be discussing. If you have any information regarding any kind of criminal activity or you just want to report something that doesn't feel right, please contact Crime Stoppers. It's anonymous unless you state that you want to be identified. You can do that at crimestoppers.com.au or by calling 1-800-333-000. Again, it's an independent and non-for-profit organisation. They're part of a global network, so there's a Crime Stoppers in America, there's a Crime Stoppers in the UK, and so on and so forth. And if you find yourself able to donate, please do. They do a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time to do the work that they do. And then there's also going to be a massive trigger warning for today's episode because we will unfortunately have to go in depth to discuss a murder. If you or someone you know needs help or crisis support, please contact Lifeline Australia at 13 11 14 or at lifeline.org.au. In the US, you can contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline on 1-800-273-8255 or at suicidepreventionlifeline.org. In Mexico, please call 52 59 81 21 or access sapatel.org.au. If you're in the UK, there is a support line service at 01708 765 200. I try to keep it in line with the major, countries that listen to us, if that makes sense. Normally, also, I would not draw attention to the suspect in the title of this episode because I have always said that I want to advocate for the victim and the victim's family. But this time, unfortunately, I feel like I have to because the prime suspect is technically still at large and their identity, unfortunately, has to be known for them to be brought to justice. So I'm not saying that because I want to clickbait against their name, but because you need to know who this person is in case you come across them because you need to report it. And I want to drive that this episode is not meant to be disrespectful to the victim, their family, or their friends. We're merely recording this because we want to discuss the events that have occurred and hopefully get this case out there in a different forum or circle of people, because I certainly know that before I researched this case and heard about it, it's not something that was really mentioned here in Australian media. Maybe we'll have a different take on it than some people.
Yep.
I will not be stating the names of minors. I will not be disrespectful to the victim's children because that's not our business.
Yep.
I also want to cover a more diverse kind of range of cases because a lot of people that we follow and the cases that they cover are predominantly about white people.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because white people are the only people, and they're the only cases that are worth solving,
that's stupid, literally stupid. Just why don't they have more
diversity?
Diversity, that's all it's about. 110%. Diversity.
And we're talking about some people, and I'm not going to state names because everyone knows who they are, but they have such big reach, such big platforms, and they have the ability to put so much focus onto specific cases that hardly ever see the light of day.
Exactly.
Don't get any promotion, but no, let's just cover the white girls, you know what I mean? So there's so much more light that needs to be drawn to these cases. I want to do it, but I'm also kind of scared to do it because you have to do it in a different way. The statistics are completely different when you talk about whether it be a female or a male, whether it be Native Australian, Native American, Islander, or what else am I missing? Hispanic.
Yeah.
You have to do it differently. You have to be respectful in a different way. And for every Caucasian case, I can tell you that there are so many more of minorities where people just don't care. And people say, and I think for me, we've discussed and you said to me, where would you draw the line? And I've always said, listen, the furthest you can go in true crime is for, I'm not going to say which nation, but we can all guess which mafia I'm referring to. So it would take a lot for me to discuss that, because once you start talking about that shit, they know who you are because they actively patrol those kinds of things.
Yeah, and then they get shitty. So
I would never go there.
But it's enough to draw flack. And it's funny because even though we're essentially on the radar, on the big scale, grand scale.
we have nothing. A million subscribers. No, we're not.
We're nothing. But it's more a case of people will still take that as an offence that you are
It's attacking. Keywords. You literally just have to Google the keywords and your thing will come up.
Yeah.
Eventually. So Yeah. So essentially, it all dwindles down to the fact that today we're going to cover one case from an ever-growing list of cases that shouldn't exist.
Yep.
Today we're going to be talking about the case of Estrella Carrera. I'm going to provide all the links and numbers necessary for people to contact the information hotline and tip hotline, so you can do that. If you know something, if you know anything about the case, if you know anything about his whereabouts, please don't hesitate to contact the authorities. And like everyone who's involved in this case says, this can be closed so quickly.
Yeah.
All it takes is one tip. All it takes is one piece of information to say, he's here right now, or I saw him yesterday.
Yep.
And the culprit can be put to justice and the family can be given some closure. All right. Have you heard of this case before?
No.
See, I hadn't either. But we're starting a new podcast series today, and this is the FBI's 10 Most Wanted Fugitives. Today, I've discovered to cover one scummy piece of the earth.
Yep.
All right, I'm just going to have a drink of water.
All good. And that's the thing. Like, also, too, in regards to like the actual true crime articles and stuff, there is essentially so many cases that if you were to actually try and detail every single one of them, there are more coming up every second. So
do you know how many
it's scary
Indigenous Australian, especially women cases there are? And unfortunately there are a lot of them that are in Queensland because it's closer to the Northern Territory.
Yeah.
And when those girls go missing, they go missing with their children.
Yep.
Right? And they just say, oh, they run away. And that's where they leave it.
Yep.
And the families are like, that never, ever has been the case of it. And that is one of the deciding factors that made this family, Estrella's family, worried for her.
Yep.
Because that happened. She went missing. Well, she didn't come one day to collect her kids. And her family were like, this is something she never did. All right. So, let me paint a picture for you, all right? You've been in a relationship with a person for years. Yes, things have been rocky, but you seem to have gotten through it. You're finally getting married, right? It's your wedding day. You have a fantastic, magical day. You're surrounded by friends and the family who are able to attend. You decide to go out to dinner with all of your guests, and then you all get in a party limo and you're there with your new spouse, and you say, you know what, let's hit up the clubs. We're going to dance the night away up until about 3 a.m. in the morning. Then you and your guests, you go your separate ways. You all disband. You got to call the end to the night at some time. You all got to go home, and then things start to take a dark turn. You argue with your new spouse in the car on the way home, and at some point, at 3:30 p.m. on Sunday the 13th of May 2020, which I would like to point out was Mother's Day, a call is made from the 911 dispatch to the Burbank, Illinois Police Department. I'm going to play that clip for you now.
This is Sandy with Joliet Police Department. I got a call from a female named Christina Jimenez. On the way and request a welfare check.
And who is she checking on?
She was checking on her brother's wife.
Ooh.
So, the police described these kinds of calls. Oh, sorry, I should go through my references really quickly. I watched a lot of the HLN and the WGN news coverage that was available on YouTube. I watched the In Pursuit with John Walsh episode that aired earlier this year because that was also on YouTube. If there was a news article or press release, I was able to get through it. For some of them that were in Espanol, I was able to translate it very crudely. So I hope that stays the same. But for everything else, more importantly, his FBI profile is www.fbi.gov/wanted/top10/Arnoldo-Jimenez. All right, let's get this party started. So in the documentary, the police detective says, you know what, this is a pretty typical call that we get. And his name was, the detective's name was Enrique Perez, and he was on duty when the call came in. And what are you typing?
At the moment, nothing.
Okay. So, as you can tell by the call, there wasn't much information there exchanged. They were pretty much just asked to get into contact with this woman who lived at this address. So the woman's brother is making a call. That's a bit odd.
That is odd.
Right? At least in my head. And she says in the call that her brother had gotten into an argument with his wife and she didn't provide any reason why there was a need for a welfare check. Just that she wanted to have one carried out.
Yeah.
So it's 3:34 p.m. on Mother's Day, right? The cops pull up to a 3-story apartment block. Us Aussies would call it a block of flats of units, right?
Yeah.
It's only 3 stories tall. It's pretty general out here. And so while they're there, her family starts rocking up, right? And they say, look, we're looking for our family. They didn't even know that they were there for her.
Yeah.
And said, like, look, we're looking for a family member. So it was this woman's sister. And she says, look, I'm looking for Estrella Carrera. She hasn't been around. She left her kids at our father's house for 2 days, and she doesn't do that. Her kids are her life. Something must be wrong. Can you please help us? And so the detective is like, this escalated to another level for me.
Yeah.
So it's 4 p.m. now. The police decide that they're finally going to enter her apartment. So they walk in there. There's no signs of a struggle. And typically when you do that, you can tell that no one's... They said that no one had broken in.
Yeah.
Right? So that means that there were no busted windows. There were no marks on the door as if someone had tried to shimmy or bust their way through. There was no broken glass. There was no blood. There was no damaged property. There was nothing out of the ordinary. He was quoted as saying it looked like a normal apartment. So then they walk further through and they make it to the bathroom. And unfortunately, they find a woman in the tub. She's covered in numerous stab wounds. In the photo that they showed in the episode, they didn't show her from the chest up, like from the waist up.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's where the stab wounds were. So she's covered in numerous stab wounds, poor woman. And they calculated them to be 18 in total. And that's a lot.
That's a lot.
If it's accidental, you go 1, 2, 3. You have to be in a fit of rage.
Yeah.
To
keep going.
Yeah.
They're going crazy.
So in the photos of the bathtub that she was found in, there's no blood splatter. There's no markings, anything, nothing out of the ordinary. And so that told the authorities that, look, the bathroom is not the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because she seems like an absolutely lovely woman. But her body was just disposed there. Like, she's not a piece of trash, but that's the way she was treated.
Yeah.
So Estrella, her friends called her Star, so that's how I'm going to refer to her today to make her more human, I guess. Not that I need to do that, but whatever. She was an interpreter and a social worker. But her case, because, clickbait, she was referred to as the murdered bathtub bride.
Oh, great.
Because that's all your life boils down to.
That's pretty shit.
A newspaper headline, right?
Some of the people who write these articles and put names like that to it just...
There's this woman called Nancy Grace. In what's that movie? Gone Girl.
Yeah.
There's a news anchor, the woman, and she's like riding Nick's ass. And she's like, Nick did it, Nick did it, Nick did it. She was modelled off a news anchor that exists, and her name is Nancy Grace.
There you go.
She is a piece of work. Sometimes she has to play both sides, but she really hammered this guy down.
Yep.
Right? And so she went in on this guy. Anyway, but that's like one of the things. But she brought it, and they were like airing so much shit. And how can you speculate on things and allow people to speculate on things if you don't even know?
No.
And the media said so much bullshit that I couldn't even back up. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it as I go through. So she was unfortunately still wearing her cocktail wedding dress. Right? So the main suspect, as you guessed, is Arnoldo.
Yeah.
And the groom's missing, right? He's been her wife for her husband. She's his wife of less than a day. And so now, retrospectively, the FBI has issued a $100,000 reward for any information that leads to his capture, and they've placed him on the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives list. He was seen escaping in his, at the time, $115,000 2006 black Maserati. He, while he was escaping, called his ex-girlfriend, had updated her on what he had done, and pretty much said, I'm fleeing the country to Mexico.
The bit with the car, though.
It gets... You remember that car, right? It plays a bigger part later.
A black Maserati. I've driven past black Maseratis. I knew there's something. I would never buy a Maserati. They just... Obviously, why would you go for a Maserati when you can go for a 351 GT or a Shelby, you know?
Yes, Dad. All right.
Point aside. It's just...
You know, that's funny, because the La Paqueta owner who fucks over all of his partners in Victoria owned a black Maserati.
Yeah.
And then when he started losing money, he had to trade down for his Beamer.
Yeah.
No, he's got a Merc now, doesn't he?
Yeah. Maserati.
Weird guy. He likes us, though.
Yeah, he does.
He recognises us.
Yeah.
He recognises me from when I'm like 5, 6 years old. It's creepy. All right. So these two had been in a relationship for years. He was the father. So she had 2 children. He was the father of the youngest. The family knew that something was terribly wrong when she never came to collect her children after the wedding celebrations. So they were expecting her to come Saturday morning.
Yeah.
To come pick up her kids. The kids are now 10 and 17, and they're being raised by her sister Jasmine. Her eldest child, her daughter, knows what happened to her mum, but her younger son doesn't. And they want to keep it that way. So in our show notes, I put a picture of the crime scene photo they took of her in the blood. There's no pooling in there. Rigor mortis has set in, and you can tell that the circulation has stopped in the rings.
Yeah.
So, you know, and she's like on her side in the fetal position, and she looks so tiny. She's not even wearing shoes.
Yeah. She's just been dumped. So... Yeah, so...
And we're back. Someone needed a cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 pours again, 2 weeks in a row. Don't you guys feel special?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. That's empty now.
That was poor timing on my half.
Poor pouring on mine. So, she, I don't know. So she's still wearing her, you can see in the photo, her sequin wedding dress. And the detective said that this pointed to the fact that she was doing something fun.
Yeah.
And somehow it's ended in tragedy. And the detective Perez said, you know, I'm going to carry this case with me for the rest of my life. Yes, Valkyrie, I understand. So outside the apartment, her family are there because they think she's inside. And they see all the officers leave.
Yeah.
And they're still waiting for her to come out. And then poor Jasmine, she, you know, an ambulance showed up. And it had the lights but not the sirens.
Yeah.
And then she knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
Well, she already knew something was wrong, but her worst fears were confirmed. So she screams. She held onto their brother, and understandably so, she entered a state of shock. She couldn't talk. So the officers start talking to her brother and the other members of the family, and they found out that she was married on Friday afternoon. It's now Sunday, right? So there's a lot of nearly 2 days of time to account for here. They say, look, she just got married to her longtime boyfriend, Arnoldo. These guys are newlyweds. They've both been missing over the weekend. So police go, okay, we found the bride, where's the groom? And the biggest question they said they were asking themselves at that point in time is, where was he? Why was he not there taking care of her? Did he commit the sin of killing his wife?
Yeah.
And then when Jasmine was interviewed for the In Pursuit episode, she described her sister as being very outgoing and happy. She said that she was goofy, loud, and made people happy. That her sister had met this arsehole through mutual friends, and her sister described him, like, Estrella had described him as being very charming. He actively pursued a relationship with her. He took her out on dates, and things kind of happened very quickly. And sorry, you put your arm up to scratch it. I'm like, I'm a lecturer. There's a question. On the 13th of March 2010, they delivered their son, so her second child, but their first together. And obviously, like I said, I'm not going to put the kids' names out there. And Jasmine said that after her nephew had arrived, their relationship became very on and off. And then they suddenly got back together again, right, in their cycle of on, off, on, off, on, off. And they told Estrella had told her family, her sister, a week before her wedding that I'm getting married to him. And Jasmine was very confused because she knew that Star hadn't been in contact with Arnoldo for a few months. And she didn't give Jasmine any details on the wedding until the day of. And so at that point, Jasmine said, look, it's too late for me to get ready to meet you. I can't organise right now someone to take care of my own kids. Do you want me to, look after my niece and nephew? And Jasmine said that she did this because she didn't really want to go, because she didn't approve of their union, and she knew that Star wasn't making the right choice. So the next day, Saturday, Jasmine says that it's the first time that she had ever heard her sister might be in trouble. The family was due to all meet at church at noon, but she never showed. And at 6 p.m. on Saturday evening, Jasmine really started to get worried, and her gut instinct told her that something was very wrong. I don't know why no one had acted on anything until the Sunday afternoon, but Jasmine knew something was wrong. Then they interview Police Chief Mark Dudlow, who's head of the Burbank, Illinois Police Department. And he said that straight after the courthouse wedding, the couple had organised a party bus. And so their plan was, look, we're just going to drive around the city of Chicago. We're going to have a good time. And then at 11 p.m, they met the guests outside the restaurant. They all started to get on the party bus at around 11 p.m. And then they decided that they wanted to stop off at a liquor store, and they got some liquor. And the footage was collected by the police, and you can see that, they're happy and they're alive and well. He's got his arm over her shoulder. They're together. They're laughing, smiling back and forth. Nothing looked amiss. He's handing over I think it looked like his credit card to pay for the alcohol. And then so they presumably get back on the bus. The night continues. There's also photos of them in the bus making out, all over each other and that kind of thing. And then around 2 a.m, they decide that they want to hit up a nightclub on the north side of Chicago. And footage timestamp shows that they were there for about 90 minutes. Again, they're still holding hands. He's captured in pictures kissing her cheek. They're both smiling. They both look very happy. And then towards the end, that's when things kind of take a turn. So it's like there's a camera outside, and so it's panned across the footpath and the street. So it's on the wall, like a blank wall, imagine, of the thing, and it's kind of like the camera's just above eye level, and it's sort of panning down, but it looks like people are walking at level with the camera, right? And so the door is just to the right, so it looks like an L-shaped wall. So they get out of the door. And she gets out, and so she faces the door, but his back is towards the door. And there's about 1.5 meters distance of them between each other. His car, so there's a walkway, there's the road, and his car is parked on the other side of the road. So you have to cross the road to get to the other side and to get into the car, right? So she's facing the door, he's got his back to the door, and they're very upset about something. So she picks up her arm and she points. And I can't tell if she's pointing to the road. The detective said she's pointing to the road, right? But it kind of also looks like she's pointing at him. And he has his suit jacket, and he's holding a beer bottle, like it's not Corona beer, it looks like a Corona beer bottle underneath. So he's, how you have your jacket over your arm? With that arm, he's holding a beer bottle. He throws the beer bottle. It doesn't look like he's throwing it at her, but it goes past her. It bounces the pavement, and he bounces off.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's no audio footage recorded of... So there's no audio recorded of this video footage, right? I don't know if they decided to have a forensic speech pathologist or whatever that job is to have someone lip read what was said.
Yeah.
It's kind of quite blurry. It's only at most a 720p recording. So it's quite poor. So you see her go down, like they both actively go into his car. And then I'm thinking, if this guy's just been... And they walk off side by side, but there's like a metre or two still distance between them. Obviously, the driver's side is closest to the road as opposed to the passenger because she's closer to the footpath because it's the US. And here I am thinking, I'm watching this footage and I'm like, if he's been consuming alcohol all night, how is he able to drive?
Yeah.
And two, how is his car there?
Yeah. Exactly.
If they've been in the party bus, like, did they know that they were ending up at that nightclub? And therefore he had parked his car there earlier in the day? Or did someone else put his car there?
Yeah.
Right.
Potentially.
What do you think, Inspector Sherlock? Detective Sherlock... No, it is Detective Sherlock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Detective Sherlock, what do you think?
Detective Sherlock.
So yeah, either way, he's driving under the influence and how did his car get there? Are my two questions. So they drive forward a little bit and then they pull a U-turn and then they drive off and then they leave the frame of the camera, like where the camera pans. And that's the last time that she was seen alive and he was seen at all, being driven away in that vehicle. And so that means that the only other person who can account for events after this footage is Arnoldo himself. And then so in the documentary, they then interview her brother, Victor. And he says, look, from the get-go, I didn't like this guy. Something about him rubbed me the wrong way, and I just knew he wasn't right for my sister. Star had told her brother that he worked in construction, but Victor said he looks too put together. And he's like, I'm not saying that a construction worker... Right, so I'm saying I don't think that a construction worker shouldn't grace a runway.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're a runway supermodel, you go make your dollar bills, right?
Dollar bill, sure.
But Victor said it didn't add up because his hands looked like he had never worked a day in his life. And I don't know about you, but from what I know about a construction worker, that's...
some hard labour.
You work a semi-labour job, and I know what your hands look like.
Yeah, it's...
Let alone a man handling...
Brickies
or a woman
and
handling
the ones who
bricks.
do like the concrete edges, it destroys your hands. So...
My uncle's a concreter, and that man's sunburnt to the point where his perm looks like a tomato, his back's stuffed, his knees stuffed, and he hangs his shoulders in such a way because he's torn his shoulders so much.
Yeah, and it's just, back-breaking manual labour.
Yeah. And Victor's like, he drives a high-end car, he went to all the VIP events at clubs, and he had literally, Victor made it sound like he had money to blow, right? And he reasoned that, look, a construction worker wouldn't live like that, like a kind of lavish lifestyle. And this is retrospectively where I have another question. And in my head, I'm like, not that I'm saying that Star didn't take good enough care of her kids, but you would think that if this arsehole had so much cash money, wouldn't he make sure that he had set her up in the house?
Yeah, it's just, dodgy as hell. Dodgy as hell.
Like, that's what you would do. If the situations were reversed and I was a guy and I had gotten the alleged woman, love of my life, the person I want to marry pregnant, and I had all this cash money, and I'm popping bottles at 3 a.m. every Saturday, wouldn't you get your significant other a house to raise your kid?
Yeah.
In a house?
That's what you would do.
You would treat the eldest child as if it was your child anyway. But wouldn't you get your family a house? Instead of... Not that I'm saying she lived in a squalor, but I'm saying if you have this much money and you're a construction worker, wouldn't your first priority be like, I'm going to build my family a house instead of everyone else a house?
Yeah.
But I'm a different person. But that's just me, right? And then so They go through the documentary, and then apparently Arnoldo was arrested in 2007 on drug possession charges, along with his brother in Hidalgo County, Texas. Look, I'm not going to debate on it, but it's a different podcast topic, the whole war on drugs and marijuana. People are very on the fence or either side of the property about it. That's a different podcast topic. But he was charged with possession of marijuana. In the grand scheme of things, it's not the most terrible drug out there for what you can be charged for.
No.
But at the end of the day, he was carrying more than 5 pounds, which is 2.275 kilograms to us. And that in the American law or state law in Texas is enough to suggest that you're looking to distribute.
Yep.
And you don't do that kind of things in the South
No.
because the law don't like that unless they're being paid off. So apparently Star knew more about this than what she let on to her family, especially her brother. She told him that she didn't like his history. She knew that he was dangerous. And her brother sort of read between the lines and figured that she was staying with him out of fear.
Yeah.
Rather than anything else. Victor did his own digging, and he said that he came across a report that was made by his sister because she was actually abused by this arsehole. And in the report, she had told the police that he had threatened to kill her.
Wow, so nothing was done at that point.
Either nothing was done or she declined to press charges. And someone saw and she had to make a report regardless because she doesn't seem to be the type of person who would go out on her own because that would offend him more.
Now also too, just from, what a lot of you listeners out there will actually know that sometimes in situations like this and other situations, people don't think about what may happen. They think about loss. They don't want to leave the situation for fear of repercussions. So they're not thinking about potential circumstances that may result like
or
this.
Or what the next step
they
is.
They are fearing other things, They don't...
It's going to set the person that's harming them off.
Exactly.
Because domestic violence is so tricky.
And did you know... I don't know what it's like in America or Russia or anywhere else, other countries.
Yeah.
So in Australia, about 80% of what police will actually deal with is domestic. Domestic violence makes up a large portion of, police response.
And especially in the area too. And it's gotten to the point where, especially for us, if we hear something at this point, I don't call 000. I call the police department, the precinct.
Yeah.
And I say, look, hi, I am this person. This is where I live. I have seen so-and-so. Something is
going on. It's just unusual.
Predominantly do it when there are kids involved. For example, that time that happened across the street and the mother and kid were living in the back and the weird couple that had just done a bender at the front and we were worried about the kids.
Because I remember there was one that I heard about through a guy at work. His next door neighbour, essentially what happened, it'd been going on for a while and him and his wife had gone out. I think it was like parent-teacher interviews or something, and the 2 older kids were at home and they heard all this screaming, banging coming from 2 houses down from them, and the kids, obviously they're 16, 17, so I'll say teenagers, they called the police because the parents had said, because it'd been, look, it gets to a point where they
know. At some point in some level, you can tell when something
is off,
is wrong.
So essentially, what happened in this case? Sorry to digress. The couple had been involved in a domestic. The husband had been drinking and had been beating the wife. So essentially, we all know how that turned out. But because these 2 teenagers they had the nous to call the police. Essentially any further, but she was in bad shape, they said. And it was just a case of the guy I know, he said, we were kicking ourselves for,
And she probably didn't do anything. She probably didn't want to press any charges.
And see, I never heard about what happened further on, but it's a case of, even what we've seen, we had ones where, like that couple going it, we literally, all the other neighbours seemed...
Literally, the outside of the house was the inside and the inside of the house was the outside.
Yeah, and it's like a neighbourhood
It was
watch
11 o'clock at night. I think it was actually Sunday night. because you at that time were coming home from work. You're like 10 minutes, you had just come home from work. That's right. And I was awake because I am kind of like a light sleeper, and I'm kind of like a light sleeper, but I'm also kind of a heavy sleeper. If you wake me up, I can't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So I would actively wait for you to come home on your late shifts before I go to sleep. And so you had come home. I think you had gotten in the shower. I was getting ready for bed. And because my room is to the front of the house.
Yeah.
And I heard glass smashing and screaming. And I was like, oh my God, what the shit? And so I crank my blinds a little bit, and I see that their furniture is out on the footpath.
Yeah. And it was going off to the point where it's like, I'm,
quite stressed.
Getting over this, so we made the phone calls. We're doing the rounds in the block.
But the thing is, you never go outside.
No.
That's the thing. You never go, because you don't know what it is. And even if it was, heaven forbid, an actual event happening, you don't want it. You don't know how many people are there. And that's the situation, because when we had the guy come in our backyard, yes, it wasn't for nefarious reasons. I didn't know that at the time. But you go, anything, you don't know if there's another person hiding
in the bushes,
ready to fucking strike you if you go out. So that's the thing. You never go outside.
And the other thing too is, with different localities, different suburbs, different countries, people respond differently to intruders. Now, it's a case of, if you're standing on a footpath, technically the footpath is
local government property,
under local distribution.
Yes.
And it's local.
Same with the nature strip. As soon as you leave your front grass and as soon as you cross the footpath, you don't own the footpath.
No.
And you don't own the driveway of your house past the footpath.
Yeah, but if you are on the front lawn, you're in the driveway. If you are in the backyard,
and that's up. It's free real estate.
It's like people will respond, and I know a guy, he's Serbian, and he's...
This is the guy I think you're talking about.
He has, lovely guy, really, really nice. And I've heard some stories. It's a case, defend your premises. You defend your family. And there are times where, you hear things where just out of the blue, someone comes up. I had a guy come down the driveway and was hiding behind the car. I came home from work.
I was home for that.
And it's happened multiple times.
Your mum was here too. And so she and I were sitting here where we're recording right now, and I heard, I know what you sound like with your boots and your keys jingling.
Yeah.
Right? And I heard something, but it was too light-footed and it was different footwear. And so I knew something was different. And when you, I know how many steps, the sound of your steps up until the porch, and you get up the porch. That didn't happen.
No.
That continued down, right? And your mum was talking to me, and it was the first time I ever did it, but I was like, shh.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say shut up, but I put my hand up and I was like, shh. And then I switched on the light. I didn't open the door. I just wanted to switch on the light to look out the window. And I heard them run.
Yeah, and then they've run.
And you saw them.
And as I've come across the front lawn, they've dead set seen me.
And bolted.
And shat themselves.
And went the other way.
They went the complete other way. They didn't even look back.
Anyway, we're completely off topic.
Digress.
Sorry.
Back.
So anyway, domestic violence is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
If you hear something, you should call.
Yeah, and especially the emergency numbers, call them. Sometimes it's better to just make a call.
If you feel like it's an emergency, you call. Otherwise, just log it.
Yeah.
If you're a little sus, just call your police department or precinct or sheriff's office. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So, in terms of the investigation, the police had... where was I going with this? The police had a lot to go on, based essentially on what they had found out from her family. Where was I going? I lost track. Great.
Yep, that's my fault.
Oh my god. Alright. And then 5 months after the murder, and this was completely unrelated to the murder case, right? The DEA, or the Drug Enforcement Administration, raided a property belonging to one of Arnoldo's family members.
Yep.
Right? And so it was a separate investigation. They had a search warrant and they carried it out at his brother's home. And several police members from the county went and assisted in the raid because, they knew some information about the case, so on and so forth, right? And so there's a detached garage on the property. I would call it a shed, but when it has doors, apparently it becomes gateway doors, it becomes a garage.
Yeah.
And so this dwelling had a couple of windows, and so they start to peer in, and there were no lights on, but they can see sort of in there shadows of shapes. And so they have a warrant, so legally they're allowed to go in, right?
Yep.
What do you think they saw?
The car.
If you've read the script my notes ahead of time, I'm going to be so pissed.
No, because you said that, remember the car.
Okay, fuck. I stepped on my own foot.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's this vehicle there, and it's kind of shoddily covered with the tarp. The agents pull it back, and boom, it's his 2006 black Maserati.
There we go.
Right? They open the driver's door. What do you think they found in it?
A knife. Obviously, I'm assuming they found blood all over the seat and stuff. Maybe even stabby signs of like the knife penetrating seats and stuff.
I'm done. You predicted everything, but there was no knife there. I'm done. Maybe you should be presenting this podcast, and I should be the person sitting here going, "But what happened next?"
I think I've played too much Hitman 47.
They didn't find a knife, and also on the subject of the knife, why did he have a knife in his Maserati?
Exactly. Premeditated.
Also, if you work from your car, aka a taxi driver, an Uber, or other DD, or whatever the other services they are, and you essentially live in your car and you want to eat, you're going to have a set of cutlery with your car, right? My paternal side of the genetic donation tree, they did that. I don't think they ever carried anything like a knife. That's not a knife.
See, I've had ones where I've had a...
If you've gone camping, that makes sense.
Well, I've done camping.
You got pulled away on your way home, and the cops were like, "Who were you looking to?"
Yeah, what's going on?
And you're like,
why do you have a?
And you're like, "Officer, you can open my boot. Here are my keys."
Do you have any
my
weapons on
bag.
you? Yes. What do you have? Field knife. It's with the it's with the camping gear. Where is it? Well, it's under. It's here. I can. It's right there. It's with the rest of the gear, and it's like the way it was stacked and everything. It was all like literally. It was there with the other cooking utensils and everything. It was like twine that literally. And
the only time I've ever been searched is when I was walking home from my anatomy lab, and my best friend, as you do in anatomy, you draw on yourself to learn the muscles, right?
Yeah. And
so these cops thought I was bad news because it was really warm. It was spring, and I didn't have my hoodie on, and I looked like I had tattoos. And they thought I was there for nefarious purposes because that's when the chemist opened. And so they thought I was there to bust up the chemist because at the time, for the first 2 months that the chemist had replaced the liquor store, there were a lot of incidences. They thought I was there to cause an incident. And I was like, "Officers, I'm so sorry. I don't have anything on me. You can check my bag. I promise. I'm a uni student. I can pull out my wallet and I can show you my student ID. I actually have my anatomy book, my notebook and lab book in there. I swear to you, officer, I have nothing. I haven't done anything." And he's like, oh, that's fine. No worries. And I'm like, yeah, like, this is the, the flexor digitus and digitorum or whatever the fuck it is. I don't need to know it now. I think people are like, whew. And he was like, "Oh, you're a nerd." And I'm like, "Yes, officer, it's a Friday afternoon and I'm just looking to go home."
And see, that's the thing with Australian,
cops, it's different.
Law.
But it's different. They don't have to worry about me carrying a gun.
No. You see, like, obviously you can't walk around carrying a gun, but obviously if, like, a lot of people walk around with a utility knife, but if you...
You can't carry it unless it's to and from work.
And when I say utility knife, I say like a Swiss
box
Army
cutter
knife.
or whatever.
Yeah, box cutters, that sort of stuff.
And we can't carry the what do they call
Tasers.
it? That's the one.
Yeah, so essentially things like that, there are laws. So obviously if this guy has had a knife in the car, he's got rid of it afterwards.
Well, I don't know if you can carry a knife in the car.
No.
But point being
unless you're a chef.
Yes. I'm sure that they're a thing. But point being
But it needs to be locked.
So they found blood. Obviously would have matched her.
Uh-huh.
And they found nicks from
Yeah.
the weapon within the car. I wasn't able to find any crime scene photos,
Yeah.
I guess you could say. And another interesting thing is that, you know how I told you about Nancy Grace?
Yes.
She was saying that one of her reporters who was on site in Chicago said that they had seen sightings of a black Maserati, but they didn't know if it was his or not. And I couldn't find anything past that to substantiate, was it his? Like, they were the only people who said that there were sightings, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And nothing else was said about that at that time. So, there's blood on the driver's door, on the seats, paneling, windows, the dash, and there's nicks that could be reasoned from a knife. So the car becomes an even bigger piece of the puzzle, and all evidence obviously points to it being the scene of the crime. They didn't talk about having to do, like I said, blood testing, but evidently, who else? How many other people did he kill that night?
Exactly.
Right? So just to recap, it was very obviously hidden on his brother's property, right? And also, thankfully, but also they're stupid because no one was smart enough to try to dispose of it or clean it up.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no one was smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. So I inserted in our notes his car there.
It's a car.
It's a car. Alright. So then in the interview, in the documentary, they pull up this FBI special agent, Steve Bernard. And he said that the FBI decided to add Arnoldo to the top 10 fugitive list in May of 2019 because they believe that he allegedly murdered Estrella, that he is violent in nature, that he has the mindset of a fugitive on the run, and he could go anywhere. He's very unstable. He could do anything. Very volatile situation is what I'm gathering from that. And they did this just days before the 7th anniversary of her murder. And in my head, between 2012 to 2019, that's a fair fucking chunk of time.
Yeah.
To 7. What happened in those 7 years that they haven't released yet?
Yeah.
Or surveillance footage? I bet she's part of a bigger drug plot.
Possibly.
And that's why they don't want to touch him.
Potentially.
Because why 7 years later? Not that I'm saying her life isn't worth being put on the list.
FBI's top 10? Come on, something else is going on. Oh, worked in construction? Right.
No disrespect, but a petty drug dealer of marijuana, 2.5 kilos, that ain't enough to substantiate a Maserati.
No, he's doing a little bit harder than that.
Not that I'm saying, ASIO, if you're listening, that I've never touched a drug in my life. I've never seen one apart from what a pharmacist gives.
Yeah.
I know people in school did it, never in front of me. I know where they did it on campus. I never ventured anywhere near that.
Yeah.
No disrespect to anyone who does the stuff. I personally don't. I'm what they would call a straight edge. But what do you do? Alright. All I'm saying is they took a fair while to get this ball rolling. I think there's some significance in that. There's no facts to back it up. That is my opinion. I think there's something larger afoot.
Something else is afoot.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Alright. So, back to fact. They're looking in Durango, Reynosa, or Hidalgo, Mexico. I found other articles where investigators tracked his cell phone when he was on the run, right? They tracked him from Chicago to Tennessee and to Arkansas, and then finally to Texas. So essentially somewhere between Chicago and Texas, he would have had to have called his ex-girlfriend to say, I'm bouncing. Why would he call his ex-girlfriend anyway? That's another question I have. My reasoning is he broke up with her just as he decided to get back with Star to get married.
What happens if someone else was in the car? On the back seat. She's got in the passenger seat and then it was from behind.
You'd be able to tell that though from her body.
Ah, okay, yeah. Well, there we go.
And I reckon the way that the splatter would indicate... Because in the US, the driver sits in the left, passengers in the right. They would know what hand he uses, and the blood spatter would indicate, I reckon. And maybe the blood was just centralised to the front rather than the back, because you'd think if it was someone in the back, it would splatter differently to the back seat. But I do get what you mean. Maybe he picked someone up on the way home. Like, home, quotation marks, but whatever. And that was according to an FBI affidavit. The phone was last used on May 13, 2012 in Hidalgo, Texas. So that's literally when police were investigating to find, like, for the welfare check. So literally, I reckon, my personal thought, right? The Tennessee call was him calling his girlfriend. Right? Yeah. And then the Arkansas call was him calling his sister saying, I need you to... Oh, no, that wouldn't be right. I reckon the... what do you call it? The Texas call, the Hidalgo call, like ping. That was him calling his sister saying, I'm at the border. You can call and do a welfare check now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. No, that sounds, solid.
Why they didn't... I don't know if there's any information about them checking his sister's phone calls. But it's not like... If he has so much means, it's not like he wouldn't have a burner phone.
No.
And like you said, he could have had anyone... Oh, maybe they would be able to tell if someone was in the car. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it would have stuffed up like the patterns. You'd be able to tell if someone was sitting in someone's blood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it had spread and it had looked different. It had disturbed the crime, like the crime scene, is my thought. But what do I know? So apparently he, in the affidavit, they said he was born in Texas and that he owns property near Farr in Texas, which is a city, town, whatever. And sorry, I have to cough, not because of corona, but because I'm talking.
All the coffee.
And yeah, I know, right? So it's believed they have family in Durango, and that he's holed up there. And obviously that they'd be giving him resources to pretty much stay hidden. In the HLN interview that Jasmine did with the news, she said that her sister's relationship with him was turbulent at best. And the family to this day still ask themselves, why did she marry him? Why did she get re-involved with him? When the FBI put him last year on the list, they had a press briefing, I guess you could say, and Jasmine was there. And she said that him being put on the FBI list, it was no small feat, that the family was hopeful that it would aid in the search for Arnoldo, but ultimately it wouldn't do anything to bring her sister back.
Yeah.
But she's hoping that it would bring the family some sort of peace, knowing that he would pay for his crime. FBI Special Agent in Charge, Jeff Sallet, said that... Well, he actually stared into the lens when they were at this briefing. And he said, look, we're looking for you, Arnoldo, essentially. And that with the reward on his head and being on the list, he would have no little friends. And he implored Arnoldo to do the right thing and turn himself in. And then on another HLN interview, they interviewed a guy, he said that he's Estrella's friend, and that checks out, right? But they kept him anonymous, and so they didn't show his photo. You know how they normally do where the person's in black?
Yeah.
And they black them out? That didn't happen. It was just audio.
Yeah.
He said he will only come forward once Arnoldo has been apprehended and captured, right? Yeah. And so on and so forth. And his name's Jesus. Well, his name isn't really Jesus, but the cover name they gave him to do the story was Jesus. And he said that he had no idea how someone with her personality ended up with someone like him, that he saw Arnoldo to be very controlling, whereas she was very liberal, carefree, she went about things in her own way. Arnoldo was described as being very quiet, but he was short-tempered, and he had a flare of anger in him. And he knew that he had beat her in the past. He reinforced that, her life was her kids. She was a fantastic mother. She kept to herself. And the news anchor said, what we hear is her neighbours, didn't even know if she was home, alive, whatever. She was so quiet. So the family believes that, again, he fled to Mexico because he's got family ties down there. Everyone in the interview says that he's a catchable fugitive, that he still has ties to Texas, like we said, and he has other family in North Carolina. It only takes one person to phone in and place a tip, which means that this case is still very solvable. The Burbank Police Department and the FBI think that something caused him to snap in a fit of rage, and he acted the way he did. Captain Joe Ford of the Cook County Sheriff's Office said that the case can be brought to justice. Everyone is pretty much cemented in their believing that he is somewhere in Mexico. And then I want to talk about this... What's her name? Did I say? Nancy something. Yeah. What was it? Hale? No, it can't be Nancy Hale.
And it's not Nancy Kerrigan.
You took that to the knee.
Oh, I took an arrow to the knee.
Nancy Grace? Is that what I said it was?
Yeah, you said Nancy Grace.
So in this Nancy Grace interview, she was like talking to 3 other people, right? We're talking to the lawyers, as she says. So she spoke to Renee Rockwell, who is a defense attorney in ATL, also known as Atlanta. If I was from America, I like to think I was from Georgia. So when people talk about ATL, it's a soft place in my heart. I've never been there in my life, but whatever. And you could tell that Renee was like a Southern belle. By looking at her, you knew where she had a geo mark stamped on her. You knew where she was from. She's fabulous. Yep. But anyway, she's a defense attorney, so we don't really like defense attorneys. And she's like, it's not clear that Arnoldo's on the run. Just because he isn't around doesn't mean he isn't a victim too. I think I killed that.
Yeah, you did.
For a white bogan bitch, I did pretty well.
Done.
She says he may fall into some kind of misadventure or disaster as well. He was in a nice big car. He could have gotten kidnapped. There's no evidence to suggest any of this, but that's what she was saying. Yeah. And at the time, like I said, that this was hitting the news, that's when they were like, oh, we're getting reports of sightings of a Maserati. But we already knew that he had gone, right? So he went to Texas, dumped the car, made it to the border, and crossed. Okay. At the time, so he wasn't there. That wouldn't have been his car. But again, I didn't find anything to substantiate that.
No, it's just
right?
nothing.
So I can't confirm or deny that it was his car, that they identified it, whatever. And then so Renee doubled back and said that, look, just because he's closest one to the case doesn't mean he should be considered a prime suspect. And then Kelly Sangden from Chicago, a former prosecutor, said that this case looks bad for him because he is on the run, that the neighbours didn't hear any signs of a struggle, that the couple had a turbulent past, and that he was known to be physically abusive, and that he's the number one suspect for a reason. And obviously, no disrespect, but if she was already dead before he placed her in the bath, of course they're not going to hear a sign of a struggle.
No, they won't. They wouldn't hear anything.
But you have to be quite calculating.
You do.
To be like, I'm going to dump you in your bath.
Yeah, exactly. Not anything else, just like, in the bath.
And there was no blood going towards a drain in the bath, so she, the poor woman,
she'd already
bled out.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, and then the third person they interviewed was Mickey Sherman, who's another defense attorney, and he backed up Renee and said, look, maybe he's a victim of a larger plot. I think he's involved in a larger plot. That's my theory, because I think something must have happened in the 7 years, or 8 now you could say, for them to warrant putting him on the FBI list.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying her life isn't worth that effort.
No.
Her life is worth more than $100,000. And one dickhead going to prison.
Yeah.
Right? But whatever. So, as you can tell, I still have a lot of questions. Why did his sister call it in? How did he make it down to the border? Was it his car that was spotted around driving Chicago? I don't actually think so, because I think like the search for the police was being done while he was crossing, right? Yeah. Why the hell, obviously, did he do what the fuck he did? Why did what did the ex-girlfriend tell the authorities anyway? Like, how do you say that? Oh, my boyfriend that I broke up with, he ended up marrying this girl, and he confessed to me that he killed her, and he's running away. Like, how does that fit in the puzzle?
It doesn't.
Is she an informant to another level? I don't know. That's just me speculating. I don't know. But I don't understand why she wouldn't call. Or maybe she called the sister-in-law, the guy's sister, right? And was like, hey, your brother just called me. Blah, blah. Why didn't she call?
Yeah.
If someone had called me and said, by the way, I'm fleeing the country because I killed so-and-so, I would be doing something to make sure that someone else heard it, recording that phone call, shitting my pants. I would go to the police station with the shit in my pants, and I would say, officer, I don't know if I'm being pranked, but I'm here to report a crime.
Yeah. Big crime. Very big crime. You'd be freaking out. You would literally be freaking out. So
these are questions I have, right? It doesn't... It's so disjointed. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Where else was I going with this? Also, I thought he left his son behind. Right? You'd think, like, was the son, he doesn't give a shit? What's the situation there?
See...
like, in my head, a lot of these killings is like, I'll kill her, but I'll kidnap the kid.
Yeah. So did he owe money then? Was he trying to get, like, a life, you know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You make good points. Also, I need someone from the US to explain to me or just tell me, how do you not know if someone's left the country? Like, don't you have passports that you have to use? Or visas?
Visas, passports.
When you cross into...
Borders, yeah.
Like, you were there. You crossed. I'm sure.
We had to show our passports.
So they don't scan and be like, oh, this person's left the country?
Yeah, well, you know.
Do they do that? I need someone to tell... No, seriously. I need someone to tell me, because these are one of the questions that keep me up at night. Because in Australia, I'm pretty sure they scan it and they add you to a list. And that's how the Australian embassy knows if you've left the country.
I think that's how it works.
Does America still do the same thing?
I assume so. Everyone gets... Their security probably more high-end than ours.
Look, I've never left the east coast of Australia. I'm very sheltered in that. I need someone to tell me the big question, answer the big questions that I have.
It's like you'd get tracked out, you get tracked in. Obviously, international, domestic. International, you get, you know, basically treated with a crowbar. If you're domestic...
If I go to a bank, like when I had to update my student status, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Let alone leaving a country. But I don't know. Again, I've never done it. But someone, please answer this question for me. Is it actually that hard to track whether someone has left the US or not? Or do they not give a fuck because the person is from a minority?
I think so.
Okay. I have set up a Google alert, so if there are any updates, I will obviously bring it to you guys in a future podcast, and we'll do a little update episode.
Yeah.
So... I need to get this right. Arnoldo is wanted for first-degree murder and unlawful flight to avoid persecution. He is a white Hispanic male with brown eyes. He stands approximately 6 feet tall, weighing 220 pounds approximately, with close cropped black hair at the time of his disappearance. Today he would be around 38 years of age. He likes to dress in designer clothing. We're looking at anyone in Durango, Reynosa, or Hidalgo, Mexico, as they believe he's going by the alias Manuel Reyas in this area. Newer articles that I was able to find February, January say that they're specifically looking around Santiago Papasquario, I believe is how you pronounce that, but I'm a basic white bitch again. And he may also frequent Reynosa, Tamaulipas, or...
Tamilupa.
Well, you know this better than me. You make me do all the work.
Don't.
And you just drink tea.
Yes, I drink tea and pronounce Mexican places that I've never been to.
So, if you see him, do not approach. Consider him armed and dangerous. Pick up the phone, give the FBI a call. Don't be calling in the Pursuit TV show. They're not the people you need to get in contact with.
No.
You call the FBI.
Call the FBI.
Stuff the police department. You call the FBI. No disrespect to the police department, but if something is on the FBI list, it's there for a reason.
And it's called the Federal Bureau of Investigation for a reason.
Okay. We're going to leave the link, as I said, to his FBI Most Wanted profile in our show notes because that's where you can access his poster and the pictures of him. Unfortunately, I don't think I can put a picture on him.
No.
But
if they go to the FBI Wanted, it'll be there.
Google his name, bruh. Google his name.
Google it.
His webpage is... I'll just read it out. It's, again, link below. www.fbi.gov/wanted/top10/Arnoldo-Jimenez. Right. If you have any information concerning this person, please call 1-800-CALL-FBI or contact your nearest American embassy or consulate.
Consulate, yeah, we like consulates.
Anything else? What do you think?
I think, obviously, there's something to do with a...
Larger plot afoot. This is me speculating now.
Speculation. All this is purely speculation. And as everyone knows, we are entitled to our own opinion. As you are entitled to your own opinion. And this is
and
all
tell
just
us what your
speculation.
opinion is, obviously.
Yeah. So, obviously, my personal thing is, 1, the Maserati, scene of the crime. 2, something else is going on. That's why they're arguing. Maybe they met someone in the club. Maybe his ex-girlfriend was there or some shit. Maybe she found something out. They got into an argument. He wanted to close tracks.
Maybe she said to him, well, they were like, she's tipsy and she has every right to be. She can be piss poor drunk if she wants. Maybe she said something to him like, you're going to need to straighten out. Maybe you're going to need to move in. What's our living situation going to be like? Yeah. We don't know. This is me speculating. But not that I'm saying he had any right to whatever she had said to kill her. Yeah. Fuck no. No. But something has happened. Something was said to him, and he's reacted, whether it was from her or someone else, and he has reacted in this way.
Yes. So definitely, I think, 1, he's involved in something else.
2, he tipped his sister off to call the authorities.
Exactly.
Because no disrespect, but like...
He's run and gun.
For example, we're housemates.
Yeah.
That's like me saying, if I had... I'm not... Please don't take... this is not me calling out a death threat. I'm so sorry. No one call a welfare check on us.
This is like Cluedo.
This is just me spinning shit. Yeah. It's like me getting my brother to call the police after I've killed you, or your brother calling the police because you've killed me.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it works. So he's gone, okay, he doesn't want her to just be left. He wants someone to...
So there's a level of care in that.
Yes.
But he did it in such a way that he made sure... he was out before it happened.
Yeah. So definitely guilty as charged at this point. Actually, no, but still, it's always a case of innocent until proven guilty. I mean, hypothetically, imagine if...
dude, he didn't know. He allegedly did it, but come on.
Imagine if he actually owed money because he wanted to dress fancy and everything. He's driving around a Maserati. So hypothetically...
Look, this guy owns property.
Yeah.
It's not like he's poor for cash. If he had a debt...
Yeah.
Wouldn't you sell the house you have?
Yeah.
And settle those debts?
Very, very dodgy.
I don't know. The thing that I can't get my head around, aside from the phone calls, is the son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was me, not that I'm a criminal mastermind or have any thing, but... wouldn't you take the kid with you?
Yeah.
But then also, I guess, you have to deal with the fact that how does he get the kid? But, come on.
It's... something doesn't add up. Something else is going on.
And I can't keep coming back to... can't help but keep coming back to the fact that last year they put him on the list.
Yeah. You got to be doing something really, really dodgy to
How many other... there's this guy who's a Chris Watts equivalent, but I think in the early 2000s. I want to talk about him in a future episode.
Yeah.
A familicide murder. He's on that list. Right? I don't think he has any other charges.
Yeah.
her life is worth more than $100,000, and this dickhead being put on the list. What I'm saying is, what is he involved in for the FBI to do that? There has to be... Why 7 years later?
No idea. He must have done something dodgy. That's all I can think of. It's...
but that's what I'm saying. Like, that is very...
Yeah. Ba-bow.
Anyway, anything else you want to add today?
That's pretty much it. But also too, the FBI watch list is huge.
The FBI, if you go, it's a very scary place. And there's also the kidnapping tab. And your heart breaks. And I'm not trying to be rude, but how many people of colour are on there?
Too many.
Or Anglo-Saxon Caucasian on that list. Like, for example, sorry, let me just bring it up for a second. I'm just bringing it up because obviously his profile was on my recommended. So say you go to kidnappings and missing persons. Okay? Now, on my screen, I have it so that the... I can see 3 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, that's my zoom, right? So what is that? 15? 5, 10, 15. White baby boy. White male. Hispanic white male. A young African-American girl. A young adult African-American girl. A white woman. What looks like the photo is taken from the 80s. A white male in his... mature age, I'd say 40s to 50s. A young white Caucasian girl, the photo looks like it would be taken late 80s, early 90s. A white Caucasian woman, photo looks like it's been taken from the 80s. Another white Caucasian young adult female. A Hispanic young schoolgirl. A white woman with a photo that looks like it's been taken in the 70s. A young white boy, child, photo 90s, early 2000s. A baby. I can't tell. I'm sorry, I can't tell. Oh, no, she's Caucasian. Oh, shit, I just closed it. Fuck my dear. Sorry, that's my Call of Duty saying, and it pisses Michael off, and I've said it so much that I can't not say it. I'm so sorry. Alright, and last one, again, another white woman.
Yeah.
And that's just the missing people, and again, it's 15 of the ever-growing list. I scroll down and I see more cases of... Obviously, white people go missing too.
True.
But I'm saying... as they add things, they move them higher up the list, is what I've noticed, right? Yeah. And a lot of the time, like I'm onto these pages because, again, I do research for podcast topics, and I kind of want to know, right? Yeah. Not because I'm a creep and I'm like...
No, you just want to know more of a background on how it all works.
And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Out of those 15 people... 11 of them are Caucasian.
Jeez. That's that's really weird. That's a lot of nasty shit going down.
I'm not saying the FBI is inherently racist. What I'm saying is there are cases falling through the cracks.
Yeah. Very much so. Very big cracks. Not in a good way either.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Anything else you want to add?
No, that was pretty much it.
That was your first murder episode. How do you feel? I know you don't.
Yeah, see, like, I don't know why. I'm just...
It's interesting because you wanted to be a law enforcement or military person.
Yeah. I always wanted to, be an SOG or, SAS. However...
What I'm saying is, how did you handle that? It wasn't a Chris Watts case. See, I'm slowly...
No. Yeah. It's like, I've always been sort of just like, people say, oh, you're a pansy. It's like, no, I'd rather, I'm more than happy to go off and watch all these action movies.
The thing is, like, sometimes you look at, not that I have a problem with it, but you'd be looking at what I'm doing on my screen, and I'm like,
yeah,
you don't want to see this.
I mean,
and you'd be like,
that cat one that we watched.
Oh, that's understand. I'm talking about people.
Yeah, but still, it's like,
and you'd be like, oh, what are you looking at? Not because you want to be like, who are you talking to?
I mean, we got about 1/3 through that series, and I was just...
Listen.
I got up and...
You had to go to work. You left. I pressed pause. I checked the house and made sure everything was locked. When I'm at home alone, and I still do it even when you're home, we have like one door, roller door.
Yeah.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, sliding door.
Sliding door, thank you. That goes to the main hallway of the house, right? And I like to leave it 3/4 closed, enough for the floofs to go in and out as they need to go, right? But if it's a person,
yeah,
when that door moves, I know,
yeah,
right? Because I like to hear what's
going on,
coming,
yeah,
to me.
You want to be informed.
I know that's psychotic, but yeah.
So, but yeah,
you look like He's put the hoodie of his hood up and over, and he's under his ears, and you look like what's the dopey dwarfy dude?
Sleepy. Dopey, yeah.
No disrespect. All right.
I'm doing it. It's my best Michael Phelps impersonation.
Oh, do you want me to get that glass bottle, and you can pretend it's paraphernalia, if you get what I mean?
Yep.
Alrighty, okay. Where can you find us? We have the topic request form, so if there's something you want to specifically cover, you can do that. Also, provide your handles and your pronouns so we can appropriately refer to you and credit you. We are on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Castro, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Overcast, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or you can email us at controllerandcouches@gmail.com. He is FullMetalChicken.
Yes, I am.
I am Stephfafahh.
Yes, she
Thank you
is.
so much for listening to this episode. You guys have been insane in the amount of downloads you've been doing in the last week alone. We've been blown away. Thank you so much for all of your support. A lot of you are, commenting on our YouTube videos saying you're really liking our content. Thank you so much for all of your support and so on and so forth. We've seen a massive increase and we're so incredibly grateful, but also shocked that people want to listen to my annoying nasal voice where I over-accentuate S's.
Yes. Maybe it's for the colours. Everyone likes listening to the colours. I like listening to the colours.
Fair enough. It's like a bit of synesthesia.
My favourite colour is green.
No, it's not.
It sounds like a forest.
Your favourite colour is not green.
My favourite colour is octarine.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. May the force be with you.
Live long and prosper.
And you're supposed to say, and also.
I know, but that's why we say live long and prosper.
Terrible, terrible Catholic.
I'm on Spock.
Thank you so much for listening.
Spockify.
Hope you have a fantastic week ahead of you, day or night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Please pray to the internet gods that this time tomorrow, we have the NBN.
Yes.
If you'd be interested in me streaming, streaming, please let me know.
Let us know.
And thank you so much. Have a great week. We'll chat to you then.
Yeah.
Ta-ta for now.
Adios. We are out. We'll be back next time. Stay tuned. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Well, not sponsored by MasterCard, but if you could just throw that in anyway. Imagine that. Yes. Okay. You can turn me off now. Thanks. Bye. Adios, muchachos. Bye-bye.